What is going on, people? My name is Eric Baccioni. I am an American living in Russia and wanted to make this video to just give you an overview of updates that we're going through, why we chose Russia. I mentioned this in a few other videos, but just overall updates on our situation, where we're at, what we're doing, where we're going, and just bullet point it. I've got my notes right here, so if I look over here, you know why. So, in a nutshell, we moved out here to Russia in March of 2022. I have been visiting Russia over the years. The first time I ever visited was in 2017, whenever I visited my wife's family, and to see my wife's childhood home and experience it. I loved it so much at the time, uh, all those years ago, a little over 7 years ago now, to the point where I had mentioned to my family just in passing that I potentially want to move here one day. And one thing led to the next. There's a lot of reasons that led to that decision, which I'll get to. But, now we're here and we've been living here since March of this year. So, very excited about the progress. We currently have an apartment that we're getting renovated and we're in the middle of, which I'll actually touch on right now, which we're at a point where the renovations are actually coming to a close, which is crazy. It's nice that we don't live there because I can imagine we would all be driven crazy if we did live there. But there's the walls are currently being prepped. The paint is being put on right now. They're flattening the walls. They're leveling it out like crazy, and which is wild to me because I'm so used to a project taking like a couple days and it being done. Like I was expecting the paint to be done within like 4 days. I wasn't thinking that it would take 2 weeks or 3 weeks to do, because little did I know that you actually should, in order to do a wall correctly, you need to level it out completely to the point where if you take a measuring stick, it should lay flat from end to end without any ridges or bumps in between. So it's been really interesting to see how they prep the walls in order to paint them, and other walls for them to put wallpaper on. So that's been really interesting. The appliances are delivered. They were delivered last night. So we got all of our things. Our fridge, which was extremely heavy, was over like 100 kilos or 150 kilos or something. So it's definitely a big fridge, but we've got a big family. We're gonna have guests over all the time, and it's a place for everyone to gather. So we want to be able to have the space for it. And my wife loves to cook, or sometimes, and I like to have smoothies and all preferably fresh foods available. So having that capacity or that fridge is nice because it's definitely, fridges here are a little bit smaller. So having some kind of nice size fridge was a non-negotiable for us coming here. From there, we've got our washer, dryer, dishwasher. We've got the air conditioner. We really want to make sure that it's as comfortable as possible because little luxuries like air conditioning is overseen. And yes, there is 90% of the year the apartment is comfortable, but in the summer when the central heating is turned off and there's no AC and you have the windows open, there can be days like 2 or 3 weeks out of the year where it's mildly uncomfortable. So while I am working from the house, I don't want to be sweating like crazy. So that was another really helpful thing to get is air conditioning. So yeah, the floors are coming in soon. We already have really all the materials purchased. Now we're just waiting on the projects to be done. The bathrooms are done, which is amazing. They look incredible. Everything, the tile looks fantastic. Our contractors have done a great job. It's hard to find good labor out here, or good workers. So I'm very thankful that we found who we have. Sorry if you can hear my guard dog in the back, but ultimately, we're very thankful for where we're at in this process. We are estimating to be done by mid-December, definitely no later than New Year. But there's some delays that have happened with like certain products being shipped or not shipped. They were shipped late, or they never shipped them at all, or they sent the wrong one. So that's been a pretty fun process to get worked through. But that's that. We are currently just in a routine. We're trying to look for a car. We're going to be purchasing a car in the next few months. We haven't really settled on any one brand. We are trying to find something cost effective that we can find parts for easily. So any recommendations would be really, really appreciated. So really open minded there. I mean, preferably if we're not going to, if we could keep the purchase under 3 million rubles, that would be fantastic. I'm not trying to buy the greatest car that's ever been built, but preferably one that's good for our family, a safe vehicle that can get us from point A to point B and is big enough for, you know, 3 or 4 people to sit in the back along with the driver and the passenger. So that's something that we're excited about. Uh, Down the road, now that we live in Russia, in many cases, it's actually easy to get from one place to the next. So like popular destinations like Lake Baikal is on our list of places that we want to visit. A lot of people have recommended Rybinsk or the Altai Mountains, or of course Moscow, St. Petersburg, which we've been, Kazan, I believe, Sochi, just like the big ones. But I'm very open minded on places to visit. Definitely going to be a trip to get out there because most of the destinations are 8 hours by plane or even 12 hours by plane. But if we took a train, it would take like 2 or 3 days. So trying to figure out what would make the most sense for our family and like how we're all going to get there together, just trying to work through that. But all recommendations are extremely welcome. From there, another big update that I forgot is I have been dealing with some teeth issues for years. I actually went through Invisalign, which is an American brand for like a retainer, like braces, basically, years and years and years ago. And one of my family members threw out my retainers, so I was unable to like keep that procedure in process. So I actually basically let my teeth go back to the position they're in. So I went ahead and got a new set of retainers for my bottom teeth. My top teeth are fine. So I'm currently on tray 4 of 21, something like that, and I replace them every 10 days. So I'm a huge fan of the system here. They did a great job. That we've got a plan to make sure that my teeth don't have the same issues with alignment down the road, where my bite will actually get fixed. I still have a baby tooth over here. We're going to remove that at some point in this procedure or in this timeline. I think I'm projected to be done in 6 or 7 months, something like that. So, excited about looking half decent on the bottom teeth, because it's kind of awkward how my top teeth are the way they should be after the procedure, and then my bottom teeth are still, back to the what I used to have, and it's a lot of it is due to this baby tooth, as well as like my wisdom tooth in the back that we removed a couple months ago, that was pushing the teeth. So after getting more space in here, it'll help speed things along, which will be cool. From there, the interesting comment that I get from people that still live in America, or haven't ever come to Russia, is that it's some scary place. And I get that the media makes it seem like it's some horrible, dangerous place that no one should come to. And I remember a few times that some people have messaged me, or friends of friends that are considering coming here, and they're scared out of their minds on making the trip out. And a couple months ago, someone had finally taken the plunge. Their family, their parents were telling them that it's a terrible idea. They're going to be sent to prison for just coming here, and it's just such a dangerous place to be. And he came and loved it. He was here for like 2 or 3 weeks, and everything that he believed about this country, from the media and from his parents and from everyone, was wrong, was completely wrong. And that's something that I've been saying for months and years, really, is that Russia is not some scary, dark, dangerous place. And in many cases, and it's crazy to say, but it's even safer than the States in many situations. Like, I remember, and I'll talk about this in a sec, but like the mass shootings is ridiculous in America. And my daughter is getting to the age where she's now in school or kindergarten, and there's a lot of issues that the states are dealing with. So it comparatively, like apples to apples, Russia in many cases is a hell of a lot more safe for people that want a simple life and aren't troublemakers and are just going to, be normal people in this world. I think it's a really good place. So, yeah, and transparently, I did think the same a couple like 10 years ago or 15 years ago. I didn't know any better. I was a young lad. I had no idea what Russia was like. I thought tanks were riding around in the streets, like, they would park in the parking lot where you live, and everyone's living in fear, and everyone's scared out of their minds, and it's like pure chaos here. That's what I expected it to be, and I thought bears were going to be riding on unicycles playing a balalaika. Like, I thought that's what how it would look and feel, and I was blown away with the realization of how it actually is living in Russia. And if anything, it's actually become more safe in many cases because they're very strict on immigration and just the laws as a whole. So I actually like the fact that they're very um, you know strict on all the policies that they have. So you're not going to have nearly the same amount of dangerous situations where you're walking out at night and you've got just a bunch of hooligans running around and can cause trouble and can hurt you. Like, I hear it all the time in people that live in Europe or people that live in the States where, out of nowhere they got attacked by people that shouldn't have been in the country in the first place. So that's another conversation for another day. But with that said, the moving to Russia has actually become a hell of a lot more simple or very straightforward now to the new decree. Now, I'm not an expert on immigration, so I can't really speak much to this, but the people that I've spoken with and a lot of people that have come here or have considered moving here, it has become a lot more streamlined where there's no test required, a language test required to get a residency permit. So that is something that if you guys wanted some more information on moving to Russia, send me a message. I can, I have a few people that I would recommend that can help with this. But it has become a lot easier for people that want to move away from the Western ideology and agenda to come to a place that actually does have traditional values. Like, my daughter has been in school for quite some time now, so she's in kindergarten, pre-K, kindergarten. They reference it here as kindergarten, and she has never been happier. I mean, she loves it. She has multiple friends. They all today she went inside and they all hugged her and were super nice. The teachers are abundantly joyful to the kids, and they love them with their heart. It's not just a job to them. It's something that I don't know. It comes from their heart. It's a really interesting thing to see here, but that's just besides the point. I remember one of the final decisions that we made that made it very clear that we should move to Russia is my daughter was in daycare at the time, and one of the teachers was reading the kids a book on how kids should be more gender neutral, or how it's okay to be confused with your gender, and that parents should be more open-minded to their kids' gender. And I definitely didn't agree with that. So that was a pretty hard blow where it's this idea or this agenda is force-fed down your kids' throats, and that's where I start to get defensive, is whenever political beliefs or certain beliefs that are not the education system's choice to make are fed to your kids. That's where I start to draw a line. I am fine with people being confused and unsure of themselves, and I get that. I can understand where people come from in that sense, but I don't like the fact that a kid that doesn't have any understanding of what the reality is, of what the world is like, where you're pushing this down to them. That's where I really start to disagree heavily. When you're an adult and you can make your own decisions, sure, that's a different conversation. But when you're a young kid, less than 10 years old, even before 18, I think that's where it starts to become a lot more serious of a conversation. From that point, it's insane to see that kids in America grow up, or in the States grow up in this environment where it's okay to be it's just okay to accept these these extremities where someone can shoot up a grocery store or shoot up a school and everyone's okay with it. And it just, that was one of the biggest things that made my wife and I decide to move here. We had already been in the process of moving, but it was like the final stamp for us to where it was very clear that we should move, because there was shooting 3 minutes from our house, and it got to the point where it became normal, where there was a shooting and 2 minutes would go by and then we would just move on and forget about it. It is a pure tragedy, and it is never okay. And I just never got around to the fact that it should be normalized in a society where your kids are confused, and that just causes all sorts of mental problems down the road if you feed into it and you continue to validate their beliefs to the point that they don't know what's right and wrong. And then it just causes all sorts of issues where a lot of these incidents happen, where kids that are confused with their gender, they start to shoot up schools. And I know this is a ridiculous conversation, but it's happening, and it's one more reason for my family and I to make the move. It makes it a heck of a lot easier because we have family out here, and it makes that transition simple. But for people that know that they want traditional values, they want a simple way of life where without all the fluff and the noise and the confusion and the anger and the media and all that stuff, Russia is absolutely a viable option. And plenty of people will give me hate, and I get it all the time, and that's fine. But I believe what I believe, and it is what it is. So that's where I'm at. So I appreciate you guys watching this video. Thank you for the support, the love. If you guys haven't already, I would consider subscribing to my Substack and my Telegram, in case my account here gets shut down for some reason for speaking my mind and speaking what I've physically seen with my own eyes. So I'll provide those links down below. But thank you so much. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video with someone that might want to see it, or you might want to bring it to. So I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. God bless, and stay tuned.